Okay, just going to keep up the video diaries. Helps certainly to keep track of things because I have an aging brain. I did go to the doctor today. I mean, not my doctor, just wanted to get a little bit of a heads up on what the radiologist's comments meant. And I didn't get really that much more information out of this guy. He was very nice. He's saying that really it's something that a neurologist would need to look at and that it's unlikely to be funded. And as a libertarian at heart, I don't believe that everyone else in New Zealand should pay for my medical treatment and investigations, except for now because it appears that virtually everybody in New Zealand is complicit in this absolute downtreading of traumatized abuse victims. And there are different levels to that complicity, different levels of intent, and in some cases there's no intent whatsoever. And as I've sort of been quite frank about, I've been amongst those people thinking that people do have much more choice about their lives than they often think, or that left-wingers think, and I now know that's not true. And I've got to the point where I realise that I am simply not responsible for the abuse that I'm taking, and I'm not responsible for the fucking morons who get voted in by people who don't understand fuck about shit. And I was in the op shop today before I went to my GP appointment, which I had turned up an hour and a half early for, because my brain's not working, and had a lovely long conversation with a very nice sales, like it's funny she called them sales assistants, I guess that's what she is, who said that she was 70. He seemed younger, and I can't remember where I was going there with that. This was not ADHD, it's not ADHD, it just seems like ADHD. It'll come back to me. So the op shop, there's something about being in the op shop that I was going to say. But yeah, I'll just start where I was before and see if I get back to that track. I genuinely felt that people had more responsibility over what they. That's right. When I was in the op shop, they had the news on. I mean, I don't think it was the news. It was just like a music radio station, and I think it had a news break, and it was talking about how Labour had, Labour's saying pledging if they're re-elected, that they will spend so much money recruiting so many more police officers. And I'm like, I remember what I was looking at the time. I was looking at quite a beautiful Japanese, genuinely Japanese, and Japanese obviously style, kind of traditional style teacup and saucer set. Not to digress, but maybe that will be my thumbnail. And I was thinking, oh my fucking God, that's the last thing we need. Because the situation that a lot of New Zealanders are in is the fact that the crimes are being committed against us by, if not the police themselves, by people that the police are either protecting or the police don't give a shit about and don't give a shit about the victims of. And and I don't want to name names because I'm sort of quite aware of the importance of. Um, I mean, I'm very happy to name names of abusers, but I'm probably not going to do that while I'm while I have cases before the criminal court. That's probably not a wise idea. But I'm certainly going to speak very frankly about what's happening to me, and I just won't name those names. And if they want to file charges under the Harmful Digital Communications Act, then they can fucking go for it. I would love that. I would love that, because one of them's already done that, and she's made a big mistake, because if I'm going down, she's coming down with me. And a lot of other people coming down with me. But anyway, the point is that I want to keep this stuff on YouTube, and I don't want YouTube to have reason to think that I'm exposing anybody identifiable to in a manner that would, give a reasonable person moral concerns about. Because I know that I'm innocent, and I know that I'm being abused by the people who have charged me, and the people who have charged me are police, and they know they're wrong. Of course they know they're wrong, even if they don't know the laws. That's why ignorance of the law is no defence under the Crimes Act. It's not because you necessarily know what the laws are, it's because they're so fucking obviously wrong things to do to somebody that if you don't know that they're against the law, sucks for you, bro. Like, we don't want people like you around, wandering around harming people. Where was I? Lost it again. But anyway, I'm certainly not going to name names of benign or supportive people. But yeah, when I went to the Cops Drop yesterday, as I say, to serve these rather incorrectly amused cops a trespass notice, I did mention, like, I'm going to say I did record. I recorded everything. And there's no problem with that. They can say that I can't record in there, but I can. And the problem is just what I do with the recording, and the thing is that if it's evidence for court, then there's, the police can argue their case in court why they felt that they needed to have their privacy protected while I was trying to serve a trespass notice. They can have a crack at it. I'm perfectly happy for them to have a crack at it. So if police are listening now, have at it, mate. I'm not posting the recordings, but police are rather silly in many ways, because they are making absolutely preposterous claims that I have documentary evidence that refutes. It's not. I don't do he said, she said, unless it's something where someone's got absolutely no fucking evidence, and I'm like, burden of proof is on you. Shiv undies, jelly wrestling, fucking cunt whore bitch. That is her name, actually. I shouldn't have named her full name like that. Yeah, and it's just like, please don't put more fucking cops on the street, because they're not fucking doing anything as it is. There's plenty of them. And as I was saying to Tim at the station yesterday, I said, because he and I had a bit of an argument, or a disagreement. I mean, it's kind of funny. Like, I feel like until yesterday, I felt like Tim and I had a bit of a I don't know. I think I overuse the word simpatico, and I hate saying it too. It just does not roll off the tongue. But I sort of felt like Tim and I sort of had a bit of an understanding about each other. And, you know, I felt that, because I've been in there a few times since I've been in emergency housing in Papanui, and it is just down the road. And so I do go in there, and he always says, you can do this online, and I'm like, excuse me, you haven't even like opened my file yet, can you just hold on and listen to me? So it's like we seem to kind of be able to dish a bit of attitude to each other without having too much argy-bargy. I don't know. To me, it seemed like a perfectly functional, very frank, no holds barred sort of thing where I'm like, John, I can't do this on. Oh, fuck, Tim, I'm confusing him with someone else. I can't do this online actually. And also what I do every time now, because the second time I went in, he told me like, oh, it looks like, he was helping me with something, and then he was like, oh, it looks like, did you know, I don't know if it was a warrant, I don't know what a warrant is as distinct from any other sense that police are fixing to arrest you. I don't know if it's a warrant, but certainly the first time I found out that police were trying to arrest me for this fucking bullshit from Lauren Osborne, that I had been bashing on her door telling her I'm going to fuck you up. I'm naming names, that's fine. There's no problem naming names because that's what she fucking said. And as far as I'm concerned, that's public information. That's my information. It's public information, official information. So I got arrested for that, and I got charged, which was illegal. It's totally illegal to charge me for that, and that's when the cops were saying the victim is Lauren Osborne, and I said, no, you don't. You do not call her the victim. You are not allowed to. And it's amazing how many cops go, oh, do tell me how to do your job. And I'm like, well, it's a real shame that I do have to, because you know that you're beholden to the Policing Act, and you know that the Solicitor General has said an awful lot of things about what police can and can't do, especially after IPCA investigations. And you used to use pre-charge warnings, for example, and those are fucking illegal, and then you just started a different kind of warning, calling it a different name, but doing the fucking same thing. No, you cannot fucking do this, and you cannot call someone who alleges to be offended against by another person. You're not allowed to call them victims. And that shows how fucking incompetent you are at understanding the difference between an allegation and an evidence-supported claim. And you know, the sad fact about the law, even when it's practiced very carefully and sincerely as it used to be, the fact of the matter is that you're never necessarily going to have a complete alignment between the available evidence and the actual truth. So you are going to have some casualties in the process, and you know, ethics philosophers, of which I'm not, you know, I mean, I'm a philosophy graduate, but I didn't do much ethics, so I can't weigh too much into those kinds of debates, but I do tend to be a bit of a consequentialist, and I do, and that's doesn't fit with libertarianism, but I take a broader view of libertarianism, and it's a real fucking tricky one, as of course it is, but and I by no means am saying what's good for the general populace overrides what's good for the individual. It's not what I mean at all, but I do think sometimes that what is probabilistically correct, even if it's not correct, and some innocent people get thrown under the bus. If there's enough predators taken out of the equation, then maybe, it's worth it. Because, yeah, I'm a consequentialist. I honestly can't, to me, any other position is bonkers, incoherent, and that's incoherent is a philosophical term to me, just does not make any logical sense. And you drill down into that, and it's like, all these arguments about whether truth or utility is more important, and it's like, well, what the fuck is truth if not utility? Because the only fucking truth adherents can say about truth is, in the favour of truth, is that it's got utility, and it's like, well, then you're a utilitarian, which is not exactly the same thing as a consequentialist, but it's like, it's like, what are the effects of these actions? And as I've said before, I don't feel there's anything special about me, like, why me? To me, it's like, well, why anyone? I don't feel that I myself should be, that I can't see any reason for me, just because I'm me, to be exempt from fucking shit things happening. I don't get it. I can say why me in terms of the characteristics of my behaviour and my behaviour profile. Makes no fucking sense to treat me like a criminal. But aside from that, it's like, well, look, I mean, shit happens, but shit is happening a lot more than just being caught up in a statistical sort of probabilistic sort of model where sometimes the sometimes innocent people get crushed. It's not like that, and yeah, it's just like, I don't know, like, Labour is piling more fucking incompetent police officers into the street, which is quite possibly why I perceive justice as having become, with the justice system as it is called, that's not a descriptor, it's just a fucking misnomer. Why the justice system is so fucking terrible, I would not be surprised if it's because we're really lowering the bar. We're recruiting so hard for new cops that we are bringing in a lot of incompetence and a lot of criminality, a lot of criminally antisocial people, because antisociality is pretty much the that's pretty much the basis of criminal behaviour and why we need the Crimes Act. And so when you're recruiting criminally minded people like fucking Shivandi's cunt face, that's what you get. You get police who are committing crimes and who are protecting criminals. And then you get the justice system, as I've said, and prisons even, clogged up with completely innocent people. And yeah, you get some statistics like, arrests are up, but you're not seeing any crimes reduce. You might be seeing fewer crimes reported, because when bent sociopath police beat their victims up and then charge them with resisting arrest, it does rather deter one from raising complaints. And it's all a bit like putting a head on a pike on either side of the entrance into a village. It's like, message to all victims, don't fucking mess with sociopaths with police badges, So I'm fucking horrified, and I completely and utterly despise police. And I mean police as a singular noun for the New Zealand police. I certainly don't mean each individual cop, but New Zealand police is a force of evil in this country. And they're not doing anything that they should be doing, really. And the legal knowledge, the incompetence of their legal knowledge is frightening, absolutely fucking frightening. And the deliberate breach of laws, or at least the deliberate mistreatment of people and lying about them, which they may not know are crimes because they're fucking ignorant, is just off the planet. So I don't want a fucking thing to do with police. And so I'm going to start, as I've said, and I'm not exactly sure how to do this, and I'll get there in time. It's not my highest priority, but instead of, filing police complaints, I'm going to start filing charging documents at court. But what I am going to do first is I'm still going to keep my records going with police, because I want to just keep a record and show that police, half the time I file evidence and allegations of actual fucking crimes committed against me. They're not even assigned a file number. They're just kept as an event number, and you can't do anything with an event number. Like, you can't update it. It's nothing. It's just a nothing. It's just a, it's, and it's becoming quite clear that when I say I know I'm not targeted, what I mean is I am targeted, but I mean I'm not. It's not personal. I'm just targeted as a lot of people are targeted by police, and it's not that there's this great conspiracy to take me down. It's just that there's a conspiracy in police to. Well, there are ringleaders, as is very well known. There's a lot of bullying in the police force, and a lot, there are ex-cops who have spoken up who have PTSD, and they can be quite senior, like senior sergeants and that kind of thing, but maybe not higher up, but very experienced, and they just simply can't do their job because of the bullying. And it's, I totally get it now, because it doesn't have to be a lot of people. It is a ringleader, and then it's all the people they recruit, and then it's all the fucking people who go, oh, I don't want to take sides, or it's not my business. And everybody who says it's not my business when someone else is being overwhelmed with abuse from somebody else is a fucking asshole, loser, cunt who really needs to be exiled from society. We don't have civil society anymore, because as some very good psychologists and psychiatrists, and those especially trained in the antisocial personality disorders and those behaviours, one of them has put it so astutely, and it's Dr. Ramani, I believe, from YouTube, put it, I think it was here, laws are not meant for 80% of people. Laws are meant for the 20% who would otherwise do whatever they want to do. And the whole point in a law is that if it's broken, then the breach is corrected by our legal justice system and our correction system, right? If you don't have a punishment process to deter these crooks, that's and when we don't, then that's what's fucking happening now. Now, we don't need more police to stop ram raids and all this fucking stuff. We just need police who are going to do their fucking job and not get rid of the victims, which is what happens. And it's all falling into place for me here. And so that wasn't what I was really going to talk about today, but that's, one of these, like, oh my God, Labour fucking it up again, equating police with, especially new recruits, hasty new recruits, with more justice and less crime. It's ridiculous. There's no crime prevention going on. I'm supposed to be a menace to society. I haven't fucking done anything. And then the same thing, well, this is what I really wanted to talk about, the same thing is with fucking the court system. It is absolutely fucking preposterous. It is so fucking preposterous. Like, I don't even have the energy to, I wasted all my energy fucking whining about the fucking pigs again, but so when you go, I'm learning as I go, and I'm trying to learn the best I can, and I'm going to have to learn a hell of a lot more because I am representing myself, and this is a pretty new development, and as I've said, whether on my YouTube video diaries or to somebody else, I can't remember, the only thing more totally fucking bonkers than representing yourself in a criminal trial is relying on legal aid barristers to represent you. I'm not kidding. Yeah, so I totally, nobody understands anything, and the thing is that I'm really afraid that I don't find lawyers know very much about the law, and even when they know about the law, I don't find them, criminal defence lawyers, and like I was passed on to the third lawyer who is an experienced trial lawyer. Well, I don't know, fuck, there are people who have lots of fucking experience doing absolutely retarded things, and I think that's what the Darwin Awards is a little bit about, having experience doing something the wrong fucking way is pretty bad, because you would expect, I do lots of fucking things the wrong way, but I try not to have too much experience doing them. I try to change. I try not to be too experienced in doing things in a retarded way. But you get these narcissists, you see, who do very well in the courtroom because they're just bullying people who can't defend themselves. And if it's a jury trial, they're just dealing with normal people, and judge only who you're going to get, what judge are you getting. It's very, very, very unscientific to rely on one person's judgment on the matters of fact, and even matters of the law, for fuck's sake. It's amazing. So I'm going all the way. I'm completely innocent of everything, and I'm also picking jury, because I can pick. I now have, because of one of my charges, it's the maximum sentence, maximum allowable prison sentence has crossed the threshold into that stage where I can, it's up to the defendant to choose either a jury or a judge-only trial, and I'm like, look, I will fucking, it's the whole fucking way, and I've made that clear to cops. I'm taking this the whole fucking way, and I've made it clear to my victimisers who have taken me to criminal court via the police. This is going the whole fucking way, and I'm yeah, it's true. You leave someone with nothing to lose, and funnily enough, they don't have anything anymore that they are trying to protect. I've got fucking nothing, really, and so it's going the whole way, and I don't really want to. Well, you know, it is. I'm going to be a kamikaze pilot, basically. Like, I don't expect to come out of this alive. Um, so, uh, yeah, I mean, I don't expect to. My life is getting very, 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 very close to unlivable. Um, and at the moment, I mean, I'm sitting on a sofa. I've got I don't know, a soy snippet in one hand, and I've got a glass of cider by my side, and it's getting into Christchurch kind of summery kind of. I mean, right now, box of birds, but I'm, the idiots who say just take one step at a time, one step at a time. It's like, what? That is the stupidest thing to do in the world. That is the opposite. Like, you need a plan. You don't just fucking. They just say just wing it. Just wing it. It's like, no, I'm not doing that. So, if I were to just take one, day at a time, it's just like, well, I'll just have a nice time until I'm kicked out of emergency housing and taken to prison for breach of bail. I mean, that's what happens when you don't strategize. And I could do that. And I could just count it down, and like, I'll just miss my next court date, and I won't fulfill my obligations to MSD to look for accommodation. And I'll calculate what dates those are, and I'll just fucking live the life of Riley in the meantime, and then I'll fucking top myself before anyone can come and control my body, because that's, I mean, what's in my mind. I don't know why people think this is a mental health problem. I cannot remove my mental health from my body. My mind is in my body, and my body is what lives in this fucking world. Now, my mind can travel with thoughts, but it can't travel to different places. I can't do astral projection, or I mean, even with disassociation, with trauma and that kind of thing, you're not actually somewhere else. I mean, a lot of kids who get raped and stuff, I mean, they disassociate, so they're not there, but unfortunately they are they are there, and it's not a sign. It's the body's rudimentary attempt to protect the person from trauma, but it's very rudimentary, and it doesn't work, and not long term, and then of course the body can still be very badly harmed. So I still don't feel suicidal, and I'm fucking like, seriously, everybody who tells me that this is a mental health problem, and then tells me like I totally fired my third barrister yesterday, after he got his EA to tell me, or to seek help from my GP, or suicide helpline. Oh, and then A&E. It's like, well, how about the fire brigade and the fever hospital? It's like, I'm just like, okay, if this is over, like, I'm not even going to argue with you. But then the barrister was, and I just copied him into an email to Criminal Legal Aid going, I am signing out of legal aid altogether, because everyone keeps thinking that I'm trying to get reassigned. No, I'm not trying to get reassigned. I'm trying to get this Hannibal Lecter off my fucking back. I don't want to wait till I get reassigned. I want this fucking psychotic psychopath out of my fucking life now. And no one seemed to understand, well, it takes a while and they may not want to reassign you. I don't want to be reassigned. We can deal with that later. I just need this guy. I just need him out of my fucking life. And And then I spoke to someone on general legal aid phone line who can't access the criminal legal aid thing, but just gave the general advice. She said, well, you know, if you really don't want to be reassigned and you really want this guy out of your life, you can just cancel your funding contract with legal aid. And I'm like, beautiful. I'm just going to get out of legal aid. So it's like, sorry, buddy, I'm out of your reach now. Stop stalking me, stalker. It's really weird. Like, he just wants to follow me around and fucking abuse me. It's that kind of stalking. It's not like he's in love with me stalking. It's just like, he just wants to. And I kept saying to him, I don't need to be bullied by and lied to by my own fucking lawyer. I said, that's what prosecution's for. You know, fuck, man, are you on my side or not? He said, I'm only a lawyer. I can't deal with your mental health problems. I'm like, my mental health problems are being fucking bullied and lied to by my fucking own fucking defence barrister. I don't have mental health problems. I have cognitive disabilities. Dickwad. Anyway. So I'm representing myself, and we'll see how that goes. But it's going to go a darn sight better than having to explain fucking basic things to fucking people who refuse to listen. And one of the fucking things is that this was almost this was close to the last fucking straw, and it happened yesterday as well. When because I got this GP appointment quite quickly. There must have been a cancellation or something. I got within 2 days saying, I just need to have a quick word with some GP just to tell me a little bit about the result, the radiologist comment on my MRI results, because I'm, I can get a bit of a general idea, possibly from Googling, but I might be getting totally the wrong idea. I mean, I don't know what most of this means. And it turned out that really my only options were to have an appointment that would just make it almost impossible for me to actually enter my plea that I was supposed to enter today for one of the charges. And it was an important plea because it also includes choosing jury and judge or just judge. And prior to the appointment, he had said if it stresses you out, I'll get my EA to go in and file your plea for you. And I wasn't sure that she could do that because my previous barrister said that they can't. You've got to go and you've got to accompany. I wasn't sure. But then when I had the GP appointment, I was like, okay, well, this is a really important appointment for me. And so I rang court and I just said, look, I can't make that appointment. And it's just a thing to do at the desk with a bailiff or something like, not a bailiff, but like just like an admin kind of person. I said I can't make that. I said my barrister has offered to go in my place. I didn't say that I didn't want to complicate it. Is that something that's possible? And the person I spoke to was saying it's possible that it's possible. And then she's looking. She's like, "Hang on, you don't have a court date tomorrow. It's been put back to the 18th." I'm like, what? I said I thought that was like the case review hearing, and she's like, well, it's going to be just basically the whole list is going to be, and I'm like, I don't know what that means, and whatever. I'm entering this plea on the 18th, like 11 days later, and in the letter that I got from this barrister, from his EA on Monday, it contained the plea entry date, which I already knew, in it, the 7th, and then she sort of replied when I was just like, what the fuck is going on? No one's fucking telling me what's fucking going on. I don't even have to go to court tomorrow. What the fuck? Like, this is insane. Like, I don't know what's going on. I'm a total noob. Like, I'm relying on people who are not coming through for me. And I said, I totally understand how people fucking get arrested for breaching bail conditions, because they don't fucking know what they fucking are. They haven't been told. They've been told the wrong information. Honestly, Ministry of Justice is an absolute fucking shit show. Circus. Oh my God. And then I get this email from the EA going, well, as requested, we've moved your plea entry to the 18th. And I'm like, fuck I did. And why are you telling me this only after I'm throwing up my hands in despair going, what the fuck is going on in this fucking circus? So, yeah, and this is the problem, is that when people tell me, well, of course you're in trouble because you keep, like, refusing help and you're alienating people, this exemplifies what I mean is, it's not help. It's not help. How is it helpful to not be told by my own fucking defence barrister that my very important court date has been changed? And, like, because if you don't turn up to court dates, that's breach of bail and you can be arrested. And if the breach is serious enough, or, you know, there's a passion or anything like that, you can actually be remanded to prison. I'm remanded on bail. I don't care to be remanded. Well, I kind of wouldn't mind being remanded to prison, because then at least it would be like somewhere I can fucking live and I know I'm not going to get kicked out. But I just want to, like, paint this picture of how serious it is and how serious the fucking fuck-ups are. And I can't... lawyers will tell me shit that I go, oh yeah, and then they'll say something that I know for a fact is totally false. And I'm like, I don't think I can trust anything you say, because you could be pulling this out in the fucking courtroom with the jury and then get fucking obliterated by the prosecutor, and then I'm like, oh my God, what the fuck is happening? I trust myself not to know the court process, but I trust myself to at least check my fucking facts, you know? So I'm going to have to do a lot of research about how to be a trial lawyer. That'll be easy right now. Yeah, that's quite a, you know, I needed something else to occupy my time with. I'm not crumbling under pressure and aging my brain prematurely. I needed to learn how to be a trial lawyer. That little fucking law degree. Anyway, I'm enjoying my cider, and in a minute I will dredge up the wherewithal to get up and take my methylphenidate, Ritalin, because I got in. My focus is on drinking some cider. I haven't got very far into the cider, but I didn't even have the energy to fucking... I was crying at the fucking bus stop in Rickerton in front of a couple of schoolboys. Oh my God. Like, yeah, cider first. Anyway, toodaloo.